Well, we have some big news from the White House because according to multiple White House officials, the United States is adamant that we are going to war with Venezuela if Nicolas Maduro does not step down. Look at this. Says exclusive, U.S. to launch new phase of Venezuela operations, according to sources. What we are now hearing is that the United States does not want Nicolas Maduro to continue. His reign at the top is going to end. Even his counterparts in Venezuela are saying that his days are numbered. But why is this such a big deal for us here in the United States? Well, for multiple reasons. Number one, and again, these are not in any order, but number one, it's a big deal because Venezuela currently sits on the largest oil reserve in the entire world, over 300 billion barrels of oil. That could be massive, not just for us here in the United States, but for the entire world. To unleash that, that would be huge. It would bring the cost down for every single person. That right there could be great. The next reason is because according to multiple sources who didn't want to be named, they are saying that the Trump administration is concerned with Russia, Iran, and China having ties to a country in the Western Hemisphere, which is why they do not want Nicolas Maduro to continue. That, according to reports, is why they want a regime change. But listen to this right here.
New warnings from the FAA have canceled several flights from several foreign carriers to Venezuela after American F-18 Super Hornets, spy planes, and bombers were seen flying off the coast. And now Reuters out with a new report saying covert action could begin soon inside Venezuela. This comes after a month after President Trump authorized the CIA to conduct those operations.
I do want to point out one thing really quick, is that this week is Thanksgiving week here in the United States. Now, according to some reports, some are saying that we could use this as our cover. That we could use this and we could get in there and, again, covert action. What exactly does that mean? Well, we don't know. And we won't know until it's done. But, according to these reports, it could happen within the next couple of days, which, again, could be big. Let's keep listening.
And here's from Reuters. Two of the U.S. officials said covert operations would likely be the first part of the new action against Maduro. The options under consideration include attempting to overthrow Maduro. Now, Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro has remained defiant. Yesterday was his birthday.
I do want to point out one thing. Okay, when they say that overthrowing Maduro would be the second option, okay, what we are hearing is that these covert actions, according to a few former military personnel, they are saying that the reason why President Trump is slow playing this is because we don't know for sure how much Russia, Iran, China, how much they are contributing to Venezuela. But if they're giving Venezuela weapons, and this was the concern, a while back when this Russian, ship tried to head to Venezuela, or it was an oil tanker, but when it tried to get to Venezuela, and a U.S. ship had to stop it and pretty much send it back and blocked it multiple times. The concern was that they weren't there delivering oil. What they were there delivering was weapons. But again, we don't know with 100% certainty if that is the case. But let's keep listening.
Late last week, he attended a public rally with college students, attendance likely mandatory. Rachel Campos Duffy interviewed Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who, like Trump, says Maduro's days are numbered.
I completely trust the strategy President Trump is developing and his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. They know very well with whom they're dealing with. I believe that Maduro will get a very clear picture of what are his options and what's the future for Venezuela. Maduro started this war. President Trump is ending this war.
Should President Trump order strikes against the Maduro regime, there's plenty of firepower in the Caribbean to do it, with about 30% of all deployed American warships, including the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford, now on station. There are over 200 Tomahawk cruise missiles in theater aboard destroyers and U.S. Marines aboard the USS Iwo Jima and other amphibs in the Ready Group. Now, ahead of Thanksgiving, the U.S. military's top officer, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Raisin Kane, arrived in Puerto Rico yesterday to meet the forces who are part of Operation Southern Spear. So with General Kane in the region, we'll have to see if Secretary Hegseth follows suit ahead of Thanksgiving. And one thing officials have said is some of this buildup in the Caribbean goes beyond the Maduro regime. It's about getting Russia, China, and Iran out of the Western Hemisphere, guys.
There you go. Again, the goal is to get Russia, China, and Iran out of the Western Hemisphere. Again, that's part of it. The other part is to unlock this massive oil reserve. Okay. The other part is to have where we don't have tensions this close to the United States. Okay. The United States and Canada work well together. The United States and Mexico working well together. Both countries, okay, are benefiting with this partnership. The United States wants to ensure that Venezuela and other countries, okay, in the area are going to work well with the United States. I want to show you something else though. Okay, look at this right here. This is what happened just the other day. It says Trump administration formally designates Venezuela's Maduro as member of a foreign terrorist group. That group, the Cartel de los Soles. That is what we heard just the other day. Now, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because if Nicolas Maduro is now designated as a terrorist, a foreign terrorist, okay, that's going to put more pressure on him as well as his country. Look what just happened as well. It says U.S. allies issue travel warnings for Venezuela as Trump targets Maduro. It's not just the United States that has issued this travel warning, and I believe 6 major airlines have actually shut down all travel to Venezuela as a result of what's going on and for safety concerns. So that's big right there. Some say that this is going to put more pressure on Maduro to step down because his country is going to feel the negative effects if planes are not going to Venezuela anymore. Now they have to go to other countries. Yeah, and people have to be driven in by bus or by a car. Look at this though. It says how the U.S. public and politicians feel about potential war with Venezuela. I want to show you this. It says the U.S. is set to launch new operations against Venezuela and its president, Nicolas Maduro. Reuters reported over the weekend, U.S. President Donald Trump's administration escalates what increasingly looks like a war against the Latin American nation over its alleged role in the international narcotics trade. Since September 2nd, U.S. military strikes on alleged drug boats have reportedly killed at least 83 people in the Caribbean, raising questions about the legality of such operations and whether Trump is seeking to fight elsewhere or ease political pressures at home. It says some observers even think Trump's ultimate goal may be regime change in Venezuela, seeking to force out the authoritarian Maduro, whose most recent elections successive U.S. administrations have not recognized as legitimate, and whom the State Department alleges to be the head of a cartel recently designated a terrorist organization. A move Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Friday brings new options to how the U.S. combats narco-terrorism in the region. Yeah, so by designating Nicolas Maduro the head of a terrorist organization, that gives the United States more options as to how to play this. But again, the big news right now is we could see tensions rise to a potential war in the area, meaning it could be a little bit dangerous, down in that part of Latin America. So we'll see what happens in the very near future, but as of right now, that is what we know. Tensions are rising with the United States and Venezuela. Again, could this be good? Possibly in the end, but nothing good comes from putting missiles or troops in Venezuela. So we'll see what happens there. But again, the one thing I can promise you is as soon as we know more, I will give you all the latest news and updates as soon as possible. But again, Thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.